Welcome students. In today's session, we will understand the methods, how we can use methods in a C# programs and passing parameters to the methods, that is arguments to the methods. There are 4 different ways we can pass the parameters to the methods. The first is value parameters, second type is reference parameters, third is out parameters, and the fifth one is parameter array. Right? So each one of these types we will try to understand in the today's sessions. So before we understand that passing the parameters to the methods, let us try to go through the methods. Okay, how we can write, how we can define the methods, and how we can call the methods in C# programming. So here I have taken a very simple example, right? Using system, by default we require this one. Then class name is program, and we have the main method public static void main. We need to have, as we know that main is one of the method. Okay, mandatorily we need to write this particular method in order to execute the program. When the program is executed, the operating system or the execution environment will call to the main method. So once the execution started, then from this particular main method we can call another methods. Okay. Basically the method means it is a function, right? A set of statements will be executed, will be doing a particular task, and that task or that particular function can be invoked by a function call, right? So that method we are going to create. So now I will try to create simple, very simple methods, because in detail we are going to again study once we start with the class concepts. Okay. Now, a method can have, let me just write a syntax here. So method can have a different signatures. Signatures in the sense the name of the method, the return type, right, and the number of parameters it is taking. So for an example here, the name of the method could be, if I say fun as the name of the method, then I can denote it by a fun. And if it is returning some value, then I can denote the data type, what it is returning. If it is not returning, then I can mention it to be a void. So it is not returning any value. And within the parenthesis, if I write here some values, that indicates that the parameters it is accepting. So as of now, try to make it simple, it is not accepting any of the values. So within the pair of flower brackets, the body of the function can be returned. So we can say this is the signature of the function of the method. Okay, the method can have access specifiers as a public, private, or protected. We will study those things in detail in the upcoming sessions. Okay, or even it can have a modifier as a static modifier. Right, a method can be a static. Okay, that also we will try to understand what a static method is. So as of now, I have just kept it a very simple method by the name fun. It is void return type, means it is not returning anything, and empty parenthesis indicates it is not accepting any of the parameters or the arguments. Right. So the body of the function, I will keep it to be very simple. I will just write one console statement, console dot write line. So within the bracket, within fun, within function. So the method is written, method definition is written. Now in order to call to this particular function, we need to write a function call here. So this is this particular body, this from the line number 10 to line number 13 will be the method definition. Method definition. So we need to write an equivalent call to this particular method. That is, we need to write an method call, or we can also denote it as function call, right? So since this method is placed within a class, then we can call this method as an instance of this particular class. Okay, instance in the sense this can be invoked using the instance of this particular class. So instance of the class means with reference to an object. So we need to first have an object for this class by the name program here. So the objects can be created in this method. name of the class, that is program, then name of the object, say P equals to new program. In detail, we will study in the later sessions. Don't worry about that one. As of now, just try to understand the methods here. Okay, since I want to explain about the parameters, how we can pass the parameters, what are the different types in that one. For that particular purpose, I'm just taking an example of the methods here. So this line number 6 indicates that we are creating an instance of this particular class. So program P is equals to new program. So what it does, it creates an object program class. So name of the object here, it is P. So using this P, I can call the method, right? So the calling the method would be P dot. Now you may just see here IntelliSense, as soon as I type P dot, it is giving you the methods here. Okay, what are the properties or the fields or the methods of that particular class. Here we do have an fun. So this fun, if I can call, then if the program is executed, the execution environment will call the main method, and from the main method, since we have a function call or the method call to the instance of that particular object, so this fun will be called and we get an output as within function. Let us execute the program. To execute the program, I can press Ctrl F5. Within function, you see the program execution here. The operating system or the execution environment has called the main method, and from main method we have created an instance of the class P, that is object. Using that pp.fun, we are calling the method here. So once it is called, the control will navigate to the method fun, and in that particular method we have the statement which is executed console.writeLine within function, and then again control comes back to the main method and gets terminated, right? Okay, now this is a simple method here. So this is an instance of a class. What if I want to make it as a static, as there is a static method for the main? Okay, so if I make static here as the modifier, then this method will become a static. Okay, we will understand to a great extent about what static is in later. Okay, so static means this particular method. Static can be, we can have a static variables, that is fields, we can have methods, okay, even we can have a static as a class. So as of now, the static is made for the fun, that is for the method. That means the invoking this particular fun cannot be done by using an instance of the class. Instead of that, we can call the method by using the name of the class, because the static methods are methods of the entire class. All the instances of the class will have the access to the methods. So the name of the class is program. So program dot then fun. Program dot fun. So this is the method in case of when we are making the, or we are using the methods as the static, right? So even when we execute this particular program, we are going to get the same output. Another interesting thing is that instead of writing the statement like program.fun, that is name of the class dot name of the static method, we can directly go ahead and write the name of the method here. So fun here. Both are equivalent. So this time what would be the output if I execute? So it is going to call the fun method 2 times. Then the within function would be displayed 2 times here. Right? Very simple. So don't worry about that, the static and all, we will study it in the upcoming sessions. Okay. Now this is how we can make use of the methods. So as of now, we are going to go with the first type, that is using the writing the functions without static. So these lines I will take it off. Then the first one, let us have it here. Okay. So this is the method here. Now, so we are interested in the learning these 4 things, that is passing the parameters to the methods. So the first type is value parameters. First I will demonstrate, then I will tell you what this value parameter is. Okay, now let me take off this particular function as of now. Okay, let it be, no problem. Okay, so what I will do, I will remove this line here. Okay, now take off this also. Okay, void fun. Assume that this particular function is taking certain parameters here, right? So the say it takes one integer parameter, say int y. So it is accepting one parameter. And what I'm doing in this particular method is that I'm just assigning or initializing or modifying the value of y, say 100. So what happened here? The function fun has taken one parameter or one argument of the integer data type, okay, by the name y, and that y is getting initialized or updated with the value 100. Okay, now let us write the function call or the method call from the main method here. So as we know that method can be called using the object of the class. So it is going to be p dot fun. Now you may see here the .NET framework is giving me the parameter list for this particular fun. If you just hover the cursor on the fun, it will tell you what are the parameters it accepts. So void program.fun int y. That means it is giving you signature of this particular function. It accepts int as one of the parameter. So fun, within the bracket, I need to specify one integer variable. So for that particular one variable, first I will create an variable here. Say int x is equals to, let me assign the value 10 as of now. Okay, so this x I'm going to pass to the function fun here. Once that is done, then I will have one print statement for that is console dot write line, right? X is equals to, okay, so within the placeholder 0, I will display the value of x here. Okay, yes. Now let us run the program and see what will be the output of the this particular program. Okay, control F5, x is equals to 10. Now you may notice here why the x is equals to 10 here. You might be you might be thinking that we have modified that value to 100, but in spite of that, it is showing the x value as 10 itself. Let's try to understand the theory behind this execution, program execution. Now, so we are creating in line number 6, we are creating an object. Fine. Line number 7, we are creating and declaring an integer variable x and assigning the value 10 here. Okay, and this 10 we are calling to the function by the name fun. Okay, so the 10 x means the 10 we are passing over here. So this 10 will get transferred or passed to the function by the name fun here. Now the point to be noted here is that the value 10, okay, the value 10 will be get copied into another variable by the name y here. The parameter or the argument which we are passing here in the line number 9, that value is getting copied into the another variable by the name y. So what it has done is that it has created a duplicate copy, another copy for the variable x. Means there are two variables now, x containing 10 and y containing 10. And both these x and y are pointing to two different memory locations. Two different memory locations. Let us try to show you in a diagrammatic representation. Okay, now here, so when int x equals to 10 was done, so what happens is that x is created, okay, and it will get a value 10 into the some memory location, right? Let me make a box here for the better understanding, and we increase the font size to say 18. Okay, now, so this X is pointing to this particular memory location in the memory block. Okay, now when we pass this value, that is X, right? We are passing the value here, value of what? X. So this value of X will be passed and it is getting stored in the another variable by the name Y. So in the memory location, there will be another memory, for example, this memory location here. Okay, this is represented for, assume that this is for Y. So now Y will be holding, okay, a value which is being passed by the X. So this is going to be a 10 here. Okay, so this happens when the function is called at line number 50. So when the control reaches the line number 15, it tries to execute all these statements. The line number 16, what do we have here? Y is equals to 100. Okay, now we are updating the value in Y. That is, this Y will get updated to 100 now. Okay, if you notice here, we are modifying the value of Y, but this value, it is not getting reflected in the X because these two are two different memory locations. X is pointing, assume if X is pointing to 1000 memory location, then Y would be pointing to some other memory location. Let us consider as a 200 here. So this 200 is what? It is another memory location here. The modification what we do for the Y will not be reflected in the X. So that's why when the program execution terminates from this method and comes back to the main method, okay, when the line number 10 is executed, write line X is equals to X. So this X, okay, is being accessed from the memory location 1000. So in the 1000 memory location, 10 is still there. So the output was 10 here. So this type of passing the parameters, we call it as pass by value. We call it as pass by value or value parameters. Okay, pass by value or value parameters. So what do we mean by value parameters? So value parameters means the changes done to the parameters in the called function will not reflect in the calling function or method. Right? Actually, we call those names parameters as the actual parameters and the dummy parameters. Okay. So whatever changes we did to the actual, or that is the formal. So basically this is called as the actual parameter and this is called as the formal parameter. X is actual, Y is formal. The changes which are made to the formal parameters, it did not get reflected in the actual parameter. Okay. So this is the first type, that is value parameters or pass by value methods. The second is reference parameters. Reference parameters. Now let us go through the second method also here. Now, instead of passing the value, I can pass the reference to the variable. Means instead of passing this 10 over here, what I can do is that I can just give the reference of this particular memory location where this X is pointing. So X is pointing to what? It is pointing to a memory location by 1000. Okay. Now instead of passing the 10, I can just pass the reference of that one. Meaning is that I will make another variable which will point to the same memory location. Okay. Instead of passing the value, I'm passing the reference of the parameter. So such type of calling the parameter or calling the function is called as pass by reference or reference parameter. This can be achieved by using the keyword ref, right? Now here, for example, if I want to make this method as a reference method, then what I need to do is that I just need to use a ref keyword here. Okay. What it indicates is that we are using a reference to the variable which we are passing. So where is the function call? Here is the function call. So again here I need to use ref over here. So that means I'm calling the function fun, and the parameter what I'm passing is not the value. Instead of the value, I'm passing the reference of the variable or parameter x. So the reference of x I'm passing. Since I'm passing the reference, I have to store the reference again in the called function or the called method. So int y, I need to add a keyword. I need to prefix a keyword ref again. That is reference. So this y is going to be what? It is going to be a reference to the same variable x. So that means the y is going to point to the same memory location 1000 here. Okay, now the changes what we make here, now y we are updating it to 100. So now y is modified to 100. But here if you notice, y is nothing but it is the reference to the x itself. Means the 10, it will get updated as 100 here. Okay, now when this particular method completes and comes back to the previous method, the calling function here, the console.writeLine x is equals to, so this statement x value will be taken as the 100 which was modified by the y. So let us execute and check it. Control F5. Now you may notice that x is equals to 100 here. So now we could able to see that the whatever value got modified by the method are getting reflected in the another method. That is because of we are passing the reference, not the values. Okay, now see here the method is a reference parameter. It is taking a reference parameter by using the keyword ref, so which will use the same, which will point to the or refer to the same variable. So the difference here is that in the previous, that is value parameter, the changes did to the parameters were not getting reflected, but in the reference parameters, whatever changes we do to these particular parameters, which we call as a formal parameter, are getting reflected in the actual parameters. Okay, it is the second type. So the second type, the reference parameters, means the reference parameter is nothing but changes done to the parameters. Let me be more precise, the formal parameters. Formal parameters means the parameters which are used in the called function. Called function here it was the fun. The changes done to the parameters, okay, will reflect in the actual parameters. Actual parameters means the parameters or the variables which are used in the calling function. So the calling function was in the previous examples, it was the main method. So the to better denote here, formal parameter is y in the previous example and the actual parameter was x. So whatever changes we did to the y, it was getting reflected in x here. Okay, that is about the reference parameters. Okay.